Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Gold Rush exclusive. Miner Rick Ness is pushing his luck to the limit. On Friday's latest edition of Gold Rush for Discovery, the mid-season hump is here as the tail of the scale is what all eyes are watching. And miner Rick Ness is acutely aware that he cannot have a bust season. In TV show's Ace exclusive preview, we are halfway through the mining season as Rick Ness is pushing his operation to the edge. Ness is working out in the field and talks about the task ahead of him. That's pretty scary. I've never done anything like it. There's so much dirt that has to be moved here. If we move the wrong dirt and go all the way down in the wrong spot, I'm gonna go broke. He adds, "It's gonna cost pretty much everything I have, so the stakes here are massive, but the payoff at the bottom could be life-changing." Rick Ness and the Gold Rush mid-season situation so far. The Discovery series features Rick Ness at the top of the latest episode, but let's discuss where we left off last week. Mud Mountain for Parker Schnabel is turning into a $1 million money pit, as Big Red and Slucifer are cranking. Parker takes a chance shutting down a working wash plant, and despite the grousing from Chris Daumit and Mitch Blaschke and the skeleton crew, left on Big Red. Tyson took 5 workers to Mud Mountain, including Tashauna Costa. In the end, he cleared 316.75 ounces for the week. Parker has 28.3885 ounces for the season so far. Meanwhile, Fred Lewis has issues, notably within his veteran ranks. Fred needs to cover his costs and pay them all. Stuart McKenzie, especially son Christopher Parker and Fred's wife Cara Lewis, are bickering and having major communications issues. Fred sends Christopher to attitude adjustment boot camp with Tommy Beats. Every kid should be forced to do a tour of duty with Beats. This country would be better for it. He ended the last episode with near 18 ounces of gold for the season. And Ness and crew at Duncan Creek are still struggling to get the gold, but will he make the 2,000-ounce goal? So far, he's under 600 ounces at the halfway mark, and he's sweating bullets. The bacon strip pay is mined out, and his go-to crew, Chris Cruz and Brennan Rualt, hope he has a solid plan that will reveal itself in this latest episode. Will the deep cut, the bane of his last season, actually have some gold in the pay? Last week, Rick cleared near 127 ounces of gold, so his hunches paid off. He is at 687 ounces, give or take, going into this episode. The morning sun broke over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the rugged Alaskan landscape. The scene was breathtaking, but for Rick Ness, it was just another day in the relentless pursuit of gold. The once quiet miner had transformed into a tenacious leader, guiding his crew through the treacherous terrain and unpredictable weather in a quest that pushed the boundaries of human endurance. Rick stood at the edge of a massive cut, surveying the expanse of earth his team had painstakingly moved over the past few weeks. His face was a mask of determination, etched with the lines of countless sleepless nights and the weight of countless decisions. This season, he was not just mining for gold. He was mining for redemption. The engines roared to life, breaking the silence of the early morning. Heavy machinery moved in concert, a well-oiled symphony of metal and grit. Rick's team was a patchwork of seasoned veterans and eager rookies, each driven by the same insatiable hunger for the precious metal hidden beneath their feet. The operation was a high-stakes gamble, and Rick was acutely aware of the risks. One wrong move, one mechanical failure, and the entire season could be lost. Rick's right-hand man, Carl, approached with a grim expression. "We've got a problem," he said, his voice barely audible over the din of machinery. Rick's heart sank. Problems were a constant companion in the mining world, but each one carried the potential to derail their efforts. "What is it?" "The sluice box is clogged again. We're losing gold with every pass." Rick swore under his breath. The sluice box was the heart of their operation, separating the gold from the worthless dirt and rocks. A clog meant lost time, lost gold, and lost money. He knew they couldn't afford many more setbacks if they hoped to hit their target. "Get it cleared," Rick ordered, "and double-check the water pressure. We can't have any more of these delays." As Carl hurried off, Rick took a moment to glance at the sky. Dark clouds were gathering on the horizon, a harbinger of the storm that was predicted to hit later in the day. Time was running out. They needed to push harder, faster, and smarter if they were going to stay ahead of the weather. With a deep breath, Rick walked over to the massive excavator, its imposing arm poised to tear into the earth. He climbed into the cab, feeling the familiar vibration of the powerful engine beneath him. This machine was an extension of himself, a tool he wielded with precision and skill honed over years of backbreaking work. As he dug into the ground, Rick's mind drifted back to the beginning of the season. The stakes had never been higher. He had invested everything he had into this operation, putting his reputation and financial future on the line. Failure was not an option. He thought of his crew, each member relying on him to lead them to success. He thought of his family, the sacrifices they had made to support his dream. And he thought of the gold, that elusive prize that had driven men to the brink of madness for centuries. The storm clouds loomed ever closer, casting a shadow over the site. The first drops of rain began to fall, splattering against the windshield of the excavator. Rick pushed on, his hands steady on the controls. The ground was becoming slick, the mud threatening to bog down their progress. But he couldn't stop. Not now. Suddenly, the radio crackled to life. "Rick, we've got a situation." It was Carl again, his voice tinged with urgency. Rick's heart raced. "What now?" "The wash plant is flooding. The rain is coming down too fast. We need to shut it down or risk losing everything." Rick's mind raced. Shutting down the wash plant would mean halting their gold recovery, but letting it flood could destroy the equipment and set them back weeks. It was a lose-lose situation, and he had to make a call. "Shut it down," Rick ordered. "We'll deal with the consequences later. Get the crew to safety and start working on diverting the water." As the rain intensified, Rick climbed out of the excavator and ran towards the wash plant. The ground was a treacherous mess, each step sinking into the mud. He could see his crew scrambling to contain the flooding, their faces grim with determination. They were all in this together, and Rick knew he had to lead by example. Hours passed in a blur of frantic activity. The storm raged on, but the crew's efforts paid off. They managed to divert the worst of the water, preventing catastrophic damage to the wash plant. Exhausted but undeterred, they regrouped, knowing the battle was far from over. As the storm finally began to abate, Rick gathered his crew. They were soaked to the bone, covered in mud, but their spirits were unbroken. "We faced down a storm and came out on top," he said, his voice steady. "We've got setbacks, we've also got heart. And as long as we've got that, we can get through anything."